You talk too much. You explain too much. You defend decisions that need no defense. You justify your choices to people who will never understand them. And in doing so, you reveal something you don't even realize. You're seeking permission. You're asking for approval. You're handing over your power to anyone willing to listen, hoping they'll validate what you've already decided to do. But here's the truth you need to hear. The moment you start explaining yourself is the moment you've already lost. Most people live their entire lives trapped in this cycle. They make a move, and immediately they feel the need to tell everyone why. They change direction, and they scramble to justify it. They pursue something different, and they spend more energy defending their path than actually walking it. It's exhausting, it's weak, and it's unnecessary. Because the people who truly matter don't need your explanations, and the people who demand them don't deserve your energy. You're pouring yourself out to an audience that will never be satisfied, trying to convince people who have already made up their minds, or worse, people who don't care at all. This compulsion to explain comes from a place of insecurity. It comes from the belief that your worth is determined by how others perceive you. It comes from overthinking, from the fear that if you don't justify yourself, you'll be misunderstood, judged, or rejected. But let me ask you this. What are you really afraid of? Their opinion? Their disappointment? Their confusion? These are shadows. They hold no real weight. They cannot stop you unless you give them the power to. And every time you explain yourself, you hand over that power willingly. The ancient Stoics understood this. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man in the world, wrote alone in his journals. He didn't announce his philosophy. He didn't defend his principles to the Senate. He lived them quietly, privately, and let his actions demonstrate his character. Epictetus, a former slave, taught that your worth is not found in the judgments of others, but in the quality of your choices and the integrity of your will. Seneca reminded us that the wise man does not waste time convincing fools. He moves forward, unconcerned with the noise around him, focused only on what he can control, his thoughts, his actions, his discipline. True strength comes from action, not argument. It comes from self-mastery, not validation. The man who has to explain himself is still negotiating his value. The man who improves in silence has already decided it. He doesn't need to tell you he's working hard. You'll see it. He doesn't need to announce his goals. You'll witness the results. He doesn't need your approval, your encouragement, or your understanding. He has something far more powerful, certainty in himself. When you stop explaining yourself, something profound happens. You reclaim your energy. Every word you don't waste on justification becomes fuel for your progress. Every argument you don't engage in becomes time spent building. Every explanation you withhold becomes a brick in the fortress of your self-respect. You begin to move differently. You become quieter, calmer, more deliberate. You stop announcing your plans and start executing them. You stop seeking permission and start taking ownership. You stop performing for an audience and start becoming the person you were always meant to be. Silence protects your dignity. It shields you from unnecessary conflict, from petty judgment, from the endless opinions of people who have no stake in your life. It creates a barrier between you and the noise, a space where you can think clearly, act decisively, and grow without interference. Silence also builds mystery. When people don't know what you're doing, they can't criticize it. When they don't understand your process, they can't sabotage it. When you stop broadcasting every move, you become unpredictable. And unpredictability is power. The man who stops explaining himself becomes someone people respect without understanding why. There's something about him that commands attention. He doesn't need to demand it. He doesn't need to prove anything. He simply exists with a quiet confidence that makes others take notice. His discipline speaks for him. His results speak for him. His transformation speaks for him. He doesn't have to say a word. His life has become the explanation. This is the path of the Stoic. This is the path of the man who understands that growth is a private affair. You don't need witnesses to your struggle. You don't need cheerleaders for your journey. You don't need validators for your choices. You need focus. You need consistency. You need the courage to move forward even when no one is watching, even when no one understands, even when the world tells you to stop and explain yourself. You keep moving. You keep improving. You keep building. And one day, when the noise dies down and the doubters fall silent, your life will speak louder than any explanation ever could. Let others talk. Let them question. Let them misunderstand. It doesn't matter. Their confusion is not your responsibility. Their approval is not your goal. Your only responsibility is to become better than you were yesterday, to outwork your excuses, to outlast your doubts, to rise quietly, powerfully, relentlessly. This is how ordinary people become leaders. This is how unknown names become legends. This is how men who once felt the need to justify every step become the ones everyone watches in silence, wondering how they did it. You want to know the secret? There is no secret. There's only this: stop talking and start doing. Stop defending and start building. Stop explaining and start improving. Let your silence be your strategy. Let your progress be your proof. Let your transformation be the only explanation you ever need. Because the strongest version of you is not the one who can argue his worth. It's the one who no longer needs to. The man who rises in silence, who improves without announcement, who becomes undeniable without ever saying a word. That man is unstoppable. That man is free. And that man is waiting for you to stop explaining and start becoming.